How's it going, everybody? I want to talk to you guys about this new Ram truck that I just got. It replaced my 2020 F-150 with a 2.7 EcoBoost and 10-speed transmission, and the gear ratio was 355s. So this truck here has a 3.0 Hurricane straight 6 standard output and has 355 gears as well. The tow capacity for this Ram and that Ford vary quite a bit. It's not as drastic as I thought, as what I was going to be getting into. So that Ford was only rated at 6,000 pounds in its configuration, and it had like a 1,400 pound payload capacity. This truck in this configuration, four-wheel drive, crew cab, 355 gears with the standard output, it's rated for 8240. That's according to the paper. And then the payload in that configuration is rated for over 1,900 pounds. But seeing as this one, when you open the door over here, we are not looking at 1,900 pounds. We're looking at like 17 almost, 1692. So does this truck actually have that tow capacity maxed at 8,200? Or are we under it? I don't know. It's hard to tell. Ford gave you a whole lot of information to break it all down, but either Rams is cut and dry or there's something else that I'm missing to it, because my truck does not have the 1,900 pound payload capacity for four-wheel drive, crew cab, 355. I don't know if the gear ratio plays a part in it or not, or if it's the trim. It doesn't specify. It just said crew cab, that size bed, 5.7, 1,900 and some change. But we'll go over this thing, like I said. So standard output originally had a 321. Then come over here, and I don't know if this is actually a preferred package by many people, because it's the 21R with a 355 ratio, sport appearance, bighorn level 1, all that good stuff. Then it repeats the Hurricane standard output with 355s, upgraded fuel tank to 33 over 26, and you get 20-inch wheels instead of 18s. So, you know, like I said, I'm not sure if this is actually a preferred package, because apparently the 355 is only offered on the four-wheel drive models, and 321s is only in two-wheel drive models. But that two-wheel drive model with 321s tows more than this. Even the lowest configuration, which is a crew with a 6.4 box, tows more than this in the quad cab configuration with 355s. And then of course the ultimate, you have to get down to the 392s, and then you have to figure out where you're going in that. I did not see a quad cab with a HO, the high output version. And then I don't know if you can get the high output in a quad cab in four-wheel drive. I didn't really dig into that option, because that's not what I have. I have the crew four-wheel drive with the 5.7 box. But looking at this this sticker, there's things on here that's not listed that the truck actually has, or at least I'm not seeing it. It says electronic shift on demand transfer case, but when you actually get inside the truck and take a look, we also have 4Auto listed in here. And then those sensors may or may not be listed. And we got heated front seats and heated steering wheel, regular AC controls, which I like. And I like this screen versus the giant 12-inch, or the screen from Ford, that's the big one this way. The only one that I like that's besides this small is in the new GMC and Chevy, where it kind of runs along the dash the same. Now this truck is a Lonestar, and you know, just your standard little cubby hole there, and then regular glove box there. It does have power seat for the driver, telescopic wheel, adjustable pedals, electric parking brake. I think that's starting to be a thing on everything now. Of course, grab handles everywhere. The driver door mirror dims. This mirror dims. That one does not. I mean, come on. You could have made that one dim too. I had a 94 Dodge. It was a SLT Laramie 2500 with a Cummins in it. Standard transmission, regular cab, long bed. Those mirrors dimmed. Here we are, 2025, and we can only get 2 mirrors that dim. But this thing does have extra fancy stuff that I really don't care for, like this fancy cruise control right here. I don't need that stuff. I could do without the park sensors and stuff that it's got over there. There is a 12-volt outlet up here, which is nice because this stuff does not work with my Cornwell wireless phone charger job. It doesn't make enough power to power it up to keep the charge going constant. It'll flash and say it's charging, then it goes off. Then it'll flash and say it's charging, then it goes off. So not enough power there. Thank God I got that one. There is, however, I found out, got a 400 watt 115 volt inverter here. So I found that the other day, so it's not that big a deal. And then there's this strange hole, this little cubby hole. I guess you can hide stuff in there. But this console that slides back and forth, this is, you know, it's pretty nice. It's handy. And then all this neat stuff that they put on here. If you're, you know, hardcore into math in your truck and stuff like that on the go. And then this, there's also a power in there. I haven't tried that one. That one might be more power to power that phone charger that I've got. So, no sunroof. It's pretty nice. I don't know that was listed on the sheet, but it does have your garage door opener, all these extra speaker stuff, and dome lights, and assistance, and SOS, and all that other good rigmarole. A little cubby hole up here. I'll have to find something to hide in there, and I'll forget about it. Does have the nicer floor mats. Hopefully these don't have a recall for causing the accelerators to potentially stick like the 2019 we had. Never had an issue with the floor mat in that 2019, but they beat me up about a recall on it. And then I go to the dealer. They said they ordered it, and then it never came. So for 3 years, they would contact me saying there's a recall on the floor mat because it could cause the accelerator to stick, but nobody could get me a daggum floor mat for it. So I was like, you know what? You guys suck. Kind of goofy. Yeah, it's me. In the back, ginormous. I feel like this door opens a whole lot wider than that F-150. And I feel like there's a lot more, feels like just a lot more space back here than in my Ford. It's probably the same, might just be looks, but I don't know. Got a flip-up seat, decent floor area. The Ford did have a little tray. You could kind of hide stuff in and all that good stuff. Maybe some storage back there in the back. I don't know. I doubt it. Doesn't seem that way. I don't know that this pulls down. Feels like a latch, but I've yet to figure that out. Cup holders probably won't get used, which is a good thing. Rear air vents. Some people don't care, some people do. That's a plus My Ford had the flip up seat and no air vents back there, so we always had to keep the air on high and point the vents at my son in his car seat. So now got these vents back here, I can just angle them to his car seat and we don't have to run everything, you know, full blast. Regular pockets each side, no big deal. Power windows in the back, power sliding glass, which is nice. I heard tell that these things are leak, they break and then they cause a lot of leaks. Hopefully maybe it's fixed. I don't know if it is. Hopefully this one doesn't. Giant carport to live under. Hopefully it keeps it nice for a long time. But you know, it's not super fancy, but it's not the bottom of the barrel, which is okay. I kind of like it both ways. I used to be a real big fan of Laramie Longhorn, and then they started doing that stuff where they's two-facing the seats, so to speak. So it'd be like brown and then white, and then they went to a really light tan, looked like a water soggy Tootsie Roll. I don't know. And then, you know, the limited Longhorn or whatever, and then they got it spelled out on the tailgate. I definitely didn't like those. And they're super nice. Don't get me wrong, they are super nice. I'm not hating because it's nice. I don't like it the way they changed it, made it undone. I found a truck back in 2016 that I really, really wanted. And I think it was a Lonestar. It was a Ram 3500 automatic with the diesel dually. 8-foot bed, had the hitch prep kit in it, 4-wheel drive. It was floor shift, 4-wheel drive. The interior in it was cloth, but everything was brown. Brown carpet, brown dash, brown seats. It was like oddball because I'd never seen another one with a fully brown interior. Loved that truck. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Wanted it so bad. I was like it was like I was a mad dog foaming at the mouth for it. Wanted it so bad, but I was in the process of trying to buy a house. And they were like, wait. And then they were like, okay, you can do something. And then I went down there and it was gone. They sold it. And then I asked them, I said, hey, can you get another one exactly like that? Exactly like it, to a T. Blue, brown, dually, diesel. And then they're like, what do you need it for? Doesn't matter what I need it for. That's what I want. You know, I'm paying for this. Give me that truck. Then they were trying to get me a tradesman that was blue and gas and a regular cab. And I'm like, not even close. So it was a long ordeal. And they wasn't going to do anything. And I couldn't find one nowhere else. And I eventually went back and bought an Eco Diesel Laramie. It was Delmonico red. But I really liked that blue 1-ton. That was a super slick truck. That would have been a forever truck right there if I could have actually had it. But, you know, things happen, and I don't think you really ever wind up on a forever truck unless you know, luck out in certain situations. I haven't had the best of luck with stuff here lately. And that's why I have this, because I was not about to spend 10 grand to put a fourth transmission in that F-150. It just make you sick to your stomach to have to go through all of that. Been in and out of the shop, and then I didn't want to go that again. So this is why I got a Ram, or how I got a Ram. Not why, this is how I got the Ram, because of that. And I looked at Chevy. The diesel, the 3.0 diesel was a little pricey because you had to buy the higher end models, and it was like, man, I want the powertrain, but I don't want to buy, you know, top of the line. I don't need leather and all the other super fancy nice stuff to go with it. I just wanted, like, you know, a custom Trail Boss with that diesel engine and, you know, good gear ratio to pull. I would have been perfectly happy with that. And then looked at the 2.7 Turbo Max, trying to find it in a custom Trail Boss, but couldn't find it exactly the way I wanted it. But when I did find one, there was no discounts, you know, no rebates, none of that stuff, and they wouldn't honor the employee pricing that was attached to the website. So that just kind of sucked that they wasn't willing to make a deal. And I didn't want to go back to Ford, even though, you know, I'm not saying Ford's complete turds or nothing like that. I don't hate on any of them. It's just that don't want to go back too soon, not to deal with another 10-speed issue. But I'm sure everybody's had a flaw with every brand out there, and the only brand I haven't owned is Honda and Toyota. I had 2 Nissan Titan XD trucks that were diesel. I didn't have an issue out of either one of them. I just wound up, I bought the one truck. It was 2-wheel drive and worked great until I got stuck. And then I was like, well, this isn't working out. So they were having a good sale, and I went back. I wound up with the Platinum Reserve, and I really loved that truck, really liked it. And then the opportunity came where I could get a new Super Duty, and I'd always wanted to get a new Super Duty, and I bought it, and then it bit me in the butt the Monday, the week of Thanksgiving in 2019. On my way home from work, top fuel filter exploded and burnt the truck. So I was like, well, crap. Ran to town. Well, I didn't run to town immediately, but after a little bit of time and insurance took care of and all that good stuff, and it's paid off, right in the final stages of it, I went to town and I bought a 15 Super Duty. Decent truck for a while until fuel prices went out of control, and it got to where I couldn't afford to drive it. $6 a gallon, and it only had a 20-gallon tank, and I was having to fill that thing up every 2 days on the minute. That 20 gallons would take me to work and back twice, and if I did any extra towing or hauling or anything extra, it was getting fuel sooner, and then it was getting where it was too much. And then I got that F-150 thinking I was doing something good, and it kind of backfired. Fast forward to now we got a Ram. So let's hope this is a little bit better. It rides good. It's very similar to the quad cab, but smoother than that 19 quad cab, I think, because the cab is bigger. Maybe a little more weight to the truck. It could be the suspension, because this is 4-wheel drive. The quad cab was 2-wheel. It was a Bighorn. This is a Lonestar, so there's not much difference on interior. A few options in this that it didn't have, but both have remote start. It had really nice steps on it. This one has none. I feel like the back bumper was bigger on it than this. They shortened the front bumper on this quite a bit. It don't stick out nowhere near like that 19 did. And I feel like this is a whole lot shorter. This whole thing is different now. It's got all this extra skirting on it that other truck didn't have. What I really want is to find one of those kick-out steps, instead of just catching just the edge of this bumper trying to crawl up in there to get stuff out. And I put my old rough country bed mat in out of the Ford. Saved that. Can't go wrong with having one of these. They're $100, so they last good. They can take some abuse. I put all kinds of stuff on that thing, and you can't tell hardly any damage. You can't tell hardly anything on that. So if you're looking for a good bed mat, that dude right there is worth the $100. I think so all day. Somebody else might say different, but I will do a bed liner. I've got another Herculiner Professional, the 2-part kit I bought to do a second coat in that Ford, but I'm gonna put it in this truck. I'm gonna spray this Ram. And you can tell in the back here, it doesn't have all the extra options and bed lights and doodads and whatnots. Doesn't have it, but you can buy some aftermarket stuff, pop in there for a whole lot less complicated. I tell you one thing I like on this thing. The cargo light's okay, but what got me the other night was, or the other morning should I say, these lights right here in that tailgate. When you turn on that cargo light, those come on. Let me tell you, good, bright. You can see hooking up a trailer at night or early in the morning. Awesome. Standard taillights here, nothing fancy, no LEDs, nothing like that. These exhaust tips are way bigger than the older ones. My buddy has a 15 Eco Diesel, and these are a whole lot larger than what's on his truck. And the tires are a lot better on these versus the 16 and the 19 that we had. That 16 Laramie, it had Nexen tires on it, and they sucked. They were bad. I was always having to get them repaired. And then the 19 had Nexen tires on it. They fared a little better because we didn't live in the same place on the rough gravel road where they use large rocks to fix it. So hopefully these are pretty good tires. They should be. I don't see or hear anybody complaining about Bridgestone tires. The headlights are great. Good visibility, shine bright, both sides of the road. It's fantastic. Nobody's bright lighting me. Excuse me. I do find it kind of silly, like the dimming mirrors, the lack of Ram's ability to put tow hooks on trucks that are four-wheel drive. I feel like that should be standard equipment. That should be attached in there. So I have to find some tow hooks to bolt in here. I think I found some from Rough Country for, I think they're like 150 bucks. So I'll grab those. I don't think I'm gonna need the little doodad ring that goes around it, so we'll just pop that out, bolt some tow hooks in. I seen some steps from Rough Country that I want to put on there that are pretty cheap. I say pretty cheap, I don't know, prices. Cheap is different to every person. I think there was like a $270. You have to look on their deal, don't quote me. I think it's roughly in that area. My Ford had I think it was a 3.5-inch Rough Country lift, and it had the upper control replacement and the full strut assembly. I think on this I might just get the kit that doesn't have the full assembly, so it's still got the factory pieces in it, and then I'll just get the spacer that bolts on, and then the upper control arm, and then hopefully the kit will make the truck sit like it sits now, just taller, because I don't like it when they go from having the rake to dragging their ass. I don't like that. Sorry for some of you guys that don't like French. I can't stand it when it's sagged, because you put anything on there towing, next thing you know, you're bright lighting people or just spotlighting tree leaves in the middle of the night. You can't see nothing on the highway. I don't like that. Hopefully that lift will keep it like this. I'll have to call them and see. So I ain't gonna buy it first like that. I don't like it. It happened on the Ford. I ain't gonna do it again. And then I was thinking some airbags in the back to help. And then as soon as somebody has to make a brush guard for this, I'm gonna get a brush guard. Hopefully somebody gets one soon. It looks naked and it don't look much like I think it needs a brush guard. Hopefully they don't look terrible, because the whole new, I seen the other ones for the older models. I wasn't a big fan of them. Hopefully they refine it a little bit, and I don't know, hopefully it's good. And upper bumper support. Hopefully everybody makes where they have the upper bumper support. The ranch hands only mount through where your tow hooks go, and then you have nothing else. So you just have what's coming out from the tow hooks, and then bolts to the uprights, and then that's all the support. That barricade bumper I had on that F-150, and I think there was another brand, Steelcraft. They had the deals that go in where your tow hooks are, and a second bracket that goes on top of the bumper to secure it. So I'm hoping that whoever gets a brush guard out pretty soon, and they're not astronomically high, still has that upper securing. So there's the plans. Hopefully, here's the truck. Hopefully it's gonna work out pretty good. And this is the reason we got it, because I don't know how heavy this exactly is, but we're probably borderline to being too much for the Ford, which is sad, because the Ford Ranger could, on paper, had more towing capacity. The old one with a 4-cylinder and the new one with a 2.7. Wild. Every mid-sized truck had a higher tow capacity than that Ford. 6,000. Everything else was towing higher than 6,000. I think even the Ridgeline might have had a higher towing capacity. Don't quote me on that. It's just saying it out of sarcasm. But anyway. So, thanks for sticking around and listening to me ramble and rant and complain about that Ford. I don't have it no more. I got a Ram. Hopefully I don't have to complain about it. Since it is low mileage and I'm going to go get the oil changed in it, I'm going to collect that filter and cut it open, see what's in there. Because I figure it'll be around 800-900 miles by the time I make it to where I'm going. And then, well, it'll probably be closer to 8, somewhere in there. And then I'll collect that filter and I'll cut it open. We can see what's in it within, less than 1,000 miles on this thing. See if there's anything crazy in there. And this calls for 020. I don't know if anybody has one and they've decided to go to 040. If you do, let me know in the comments. If you're running 040 or 020, I feel like 020 is a little thin for this. And then on that same hand, also, I feel like with the popularity of 040, I feel like there needs to be more people making 040 besides the European blends. Like, I don't know that Valvoline has a straight 040. I know Amsoil has like 4 or 5 different variants of 040. And supposedly these things are factory filled with Pennzoil 040. But I don't know if that's a regular or if it's a European. And I can't tell you anything else because the book that came in the truck was for a 2018. Everything was printed, copyrighted 2017 for the 18 model. So somehow or another, we're in 2025 and they stuck a book for a 2018 in my truck. So how do you have one hanging around that long? I don't know. Somebody was collecting them. But anyway, I can't see what the alternative options are for oil weights, and if it says full synthetic, semi-synthetic. I'm sure by now it's probably full synthetic, because the quality of oils today have vastly improved. And then I seen something that said 91 octane for this. Not many places where I live that straight have 91 octane. You have real gas and then you have 10% ethanol mixed, 87. So it is what it is. So hopefully that doesn't make a big deal, and I just put some gas treatment in there, even though it's direct injecting at over 5,000 psi. So hopefully it stays clean. But anyway, I keep going on about this thing. Thanks for watching, and if you have any comments or questions, put them in there. I'll get to them when I see them. Thanks. Y'all have a good one.